Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to intro this one because this isn't a live episode, but we want to take the time to apologize to all of our podcast listeners because we've been real YouTube heavy. You know what I mean? And straight to the point. It's much more seamless, efficient. But we getting back to y'all, the listeners, because y'all are who important. So I just want to apologize to y'all because it's like probably 20 or 30 episodes since y'all last got something sent to your RSS feed that I so took time to set up on different platforms. And we just was
But
like,
hey,
yeah, YouTube.
hey, we appreciate that you actually took the time, to hit us up and be like, hey, are you guys still on Spotify? Are you still on Apple Pod? So we really appreciate that. I'm glad
Yeah,
that you still took the time, out of your all schedule to look out for us. So we're definitely gonna try to double back and
right.
catch up on all platforms.
Yeah, so whatever y'all missed, just go to the YouTube channel in the meantime. But yes, again, this is your boy. Like, that's your boy. Subscribe over there. Hit that like and subscribe button for the YouTube listeners. For all the Spotify listeners, hit that notification and the bell on there, or follow and hit the notification bell. I don't know how the other platforms go. I don't do iHeart and all that, but rock with us on there too. I just do Spotify because that's where all the podcasts is at. But this is a hoops episode. We not even being too strategic with this. We kind of both relaxed. We're not in the we gotta hurry up right after a game state. But there was a game slate today, and Team USA played
Brazil,
Brazil, and
as uh,
you
as
know,
Dom Toretto would say, this is Brazil.
right. And this was Brazil.
Fast Five, in my opinion, it's still the best. I think it's still the best of that entire. Right? I think.
Yeah, yeah. Before it got out of hand, and then all of a sudden, the Rock on there doing rock
I would
bottoms on
say
people.
it got out of hand once they went into outer space, but I
Yeah,
get what you're saying.
yeah,
I get what I'm
yeah.
saying. I still love it. Still love it. Okay, we went on a tangent already. Not even two
Nah,
minutes into the
hey,
episode.
let's enjoy it. But I mean, if I wanted to tap in on that game, I'll just say that I mean it went as expected for me.
Yeah,
Um, even though I didn't get to watch it as intricately as I like to watch games because I was working while I was watching, but I was still like seeing LeBron making crafty passes and Joel Embiid establishing himself. Um, seeing a couple of plays from like a lot actually from Devin Booker. Like he was like really showing up, you know what I mean? And I mean outside of that, like we played pretty well, of course. I mean we won by what, 30 something. It was like one what, 10 to 87 or something like
122
that.
to 87.
Ooh, 122. I'm down 12 points. Good lord.
22,
So yeah,
13. So we won by 35 points.
yeah,
Right?
so
I'm doing the
yeah.
math correctly. Yeah.
We won by KD's old number.
There you go. Which,
And
according to Joe Lacob, will be retired in Chase Center, right? And deservedly so. I think deservedly so. I think it's
yeah,
fair. You know.
right.
And you're a hater. In my opinion, you're a hater. If you're a Thunder fan and you say it shouldn't be retired for the Thunder, I think that's kind of weird. But hey, that's my opinion. So,
Yeah, yeah, because he took them back to prominence since what, like Gary Payton and Sean Kemp.
I mean, you could say that Russell
You could say
Westbrook
Ray
is
Allen.
the quintessential, the all-time Thunder player. That is fair. That's fair, and
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't disagree with you. But to dismiss or disregard KD's contributions to the Thunder, the OKC Thunder,
right.
or I don't know. I think that's a little. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that's a little irregular.
it,
But
it
but hey,
is,
all right. Again, another tangent. Another tangent.
especially since he won his MVP award there.
That is
Um,
correct too.
and
That's
and
correct.
he was the first one of the trio that was there. I mean, Harden
Crazy,
wasn't
right?
gonna get it anyway because he was a six man, but yeah, yeah, he was the first
Yeah.
one to win the MVP there, and I can't think of the history right now. Probably need to do some history and get back to being a student of the game on that level. But who was the last person to actually win an MVP in Seattle or OKC anyway, other than KD and Russ, like before them? You know what I mean? I can't think of anybody.
I mean, Gary Payton never actually won MVP,
No,
right? I mean, like he got MVP votes. He was a
yeah,
DPOY, but he
right,
never. No, so I mean, even if you look into their shared franchise history.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guys are the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Right.
I don't know. Like I
Right.
think again, I don't know how we just got to this topic, but yes, I think they do deserve.
Because I went off on
When
a
all I
tangent.
guess it's fair to say, given that let's be real, as fans are continuing to say, right, that generation, their time is coming. More or less, it's coming to an end in the next couple of years. So you kind of look back at what they accomplished, and it was definitely a monumental time, not just in their franchise history, but of the 2010s,
Yeah.
as a whole. So, I mean, you think about it, right? We just celebrated the 75th year anniversary, right, of the NBA, what, like a year ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, right?
Yep.
They
Yep. About two.
basically defined a seventh,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
of NBA history.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey. But anyway, going. Oh, but on the note, again, and we're just talking about KD as a Thunder player, and obviously,
Yeah.
he did some great contributions to the Warriors. But today, congratulations, KD is officially the all-time leading scorer in Team USA basketball history. Right,
Yeah.
so between both the men and the women, he surpassed. Right, if I'm correct, right, he surpassed Lisa Leslie's
Yeah.
all-time point total. Which kind of goes back to what you and I were kind of when we were talking shop a couple episodes back, right? Like, we understood why LeBron was the flag bearer for Team USA, because again, it's just you're the flag bearer for Team USA, not Team USA basketball,
Right.
But it's just if you were to choose who was like the most accomplished and most decorated national team player, it's KD. And you can make an argument he's the most decorated USA national team player, not just of this current era, of all time. I mean, right? Like I said, the number of gold medals he's gotten, both in the Olympics, World Championships, right? The scoring records. I mean, it's what we've been saying, right? For the start of when you and I started podcasting, right? Like even us, we're kind of guilty. You kind of sometimes take KD for granted.
Right.
He makes things look so effortlessly, or so effortless.
Yeah.
And he's so consistent in the manner in which he does things that I think, sometimes we kind of take it for granted and don't realize just, man, like what he's truly, like the magnitude of what he's accomplishing. So again, and even today, right? Just the maturation of him as a player and his mindset. Remember, he's still coming off the bench.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's reason for that. He was nursing an injury during the exhibition series, but still, it's just he's giving Team USA like everything that they're asking of him. So
Right.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see him eclipse all these records, right? So definitely well deserved. Well deserved.
Yes, and shout out to Lisa Leslie, who he
I know
took over, and shout out to Carmelo Anthony, just so you aren't forgotten, at least in our space. You know what I mean?
Who was in attendance today?
Yeah.
He was in attendance, which is a beautiful thing to see. I'm glad that the greats, past and present, are all there. To support Team USA. I mean, how cool is that, right? Like Chris Mullin, they showed Chris Mullin in the stands. So it's
and
pretty
they were
cool.
like, same haircut, still cool. Like, yeah, he ain't switched up.
You
He's
could still give
ready
him
to suit up.
10-15 minutes. I bet you.
Right. He can still suit up. But
for what? Well,
no, for
I'm gonna
nothing.
make a little joke here about Steph Curry. For what they're asking Steph Curry to do, I'm pretty sure Chris Mullin could do it.
Yeah. Right now, just make a couple shots out there on the floor with those guys. Yeah, I think so. Especially with competition that's not up to par. Like they could throw them in there. Like just run, just screen right here and then pop off over there and just
But
shoot that
shit. So I mean, as you were saying, I think this game, we didn't really go too much in depth last episode when we talked about their potential matchup with Brazil.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say it went as we expected, which is that the USA dominated.
Right.
They essentially dominated from start to finish. There were a couple sequences or a couple stretches where
Right.
Brazil kind of strung along a couple possessions,
Yeah.
like a 9-0 run, a 10-0 run here and there to kind of
Yeah.
get it back to like 8-9 points, but they never truly challenged, like the momentum never quite shifted
Right.
um in their favor. You know, what do you think maybe about the game or just moving forward? Any thoughts?
Um, I mean, this felt more like a warm up to kind of get some of the other players going. To me, like to get Embiid continuing to have some consistency, to get Devin Booker to be like the X factor-ish kind of. Nobody's really paying attention to him. He's like the headband guy that don't nobody really talk about. You know what I mean? Which is why he's out there running up on people with his jersey, giving them shoes and stuff. Because it's just like, oh, me? I mean, seriously, I would feel the same way. Like Steph, LeBron out here, KD, but you got my jersey on? Like, okay. You know what I mean? And then Embiid's getting booed, but I mean, that means that they know who he is and probably talk about him more than they talk about Devin Booker too, at least in France, so
Yeah.
I think just him getting more established and what they were trying to do offensively. And I don't know. I guess they're just getting ready for Serbia now at this point. Like
Yeah.
that was a get ready for Serbia game, and then LeBron getting injured stopped his quarterbacking because he was like Magic Johnson out there today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I was seeing some passes like, okay, this is what you got. Like I don't see this with your normal NBA team, but not all the time, not just so consistently, like back to back to back. You know what I mean? Like, oh, beautiful pass. Oh, beautiful pass. Oh, like that one he threw low. I forgot who finished it. It might have been Drew. But man, he threw some really good passes today, and they were giving him praise and quarterback LeBron and stuff like that. But yeah, like the team definitely looked good. So I'm I mean, outside of what Serbia did, I didn't see the game in its entirety. I caught little bits and pieces of it, but I do know that they came back from down 24 points and won.
24. Yeah.
So I don't know what
In the
type
second
of
half too.
in the second half.
Yeah.
So I don't know what type of momentum wave they may be riding, what impact it would have in the game against Team USA. But I mean, it's still Team USA. So outside of Jokic doing his circus shots on Anthony Davis, like what else do they got? You know what I mean? So I still think that I think we'll cruise through them too. They may give us problems early on, but they don't have enough. They outside of Bogdanovich and Jokic, I don't think they, unless they just miraculously come up with something, or Jokic turns into Denver Jokic and the pieces around him turn into Denver players. You know what I mean? Like they get MPJ level
Well,
contributions from last season. They get uh Jamal Murray contributions from last, like they need contributions from last year's Denver playoff team on this Serbian team to really make an impact. And then they probably could. You know what I mean? That's something they could do because with
yeah.
that being said, this team USA doesn't, outside of LeBron controlling it, we don't really have an identity outside of that. You know what I mean? It's not like we're allowing or that even that you are allowed. Who was it that was saying I think it was Sue Bird I seen on Twitter saying with Team USA you're uncomfortable because there's one or two players that are able to do what they want to do and everything else is just uncomfortable the entire time. So with
Okay.
them
Yeah.
not being able to find an identity because of that type of build, you know what I mean? And really, we don't usually ever find an identity. It's been a while since we found it. I want to say it's damn near been since Kobe and Kid that we had an identity. You know what I mean? Like Kobe
Yeah.
came, brought a mentality. Especially because it was what the redeem team and all of that. Like, get back and I don't know. Kobe brought his wake up early, y'all out partying. Yeah, okay, now wake up with me, and I'm working out this early. I'm getting to the gym. He reestablished what it took to win, and then
Right.
they took that and put it out on the court, on the floor. Like they all of their stories, like oh Kobe, he like oh yeah, I know they first play. I'm about to go knock Gasol, and I'm about to go hit him in his shit. You know what I'm saying? They like wait what?
Right.
That's your teammate. You know what I'm saying? And You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a certain type of mentality you have to have. Kobe wasn't there to play lackadaisical at times. Like even though Team USA showed up today, they didn't really. I didn't see too many lackadaisical moments until maybe the third quarter, like midway. You know, where they were like, "Oh, this game kind of in the bag," and they kind of like, especially after LeBron got elbowed, they kind of started cruising after that slightly. But no, Kobe was like foot on their throat. And then also at the time, you had a better Spain team. You had like Argentina, and you know what I mean, like a lot of teams
Mm-hmm.
that could just randomly really have a player that was just good enough, like how we see like Jokic then would have been a problem. You know what I mean? Because it just seems like
Yeah.
those teams then were just more like everybody was kind of like trying to put their foot on everybody's throat. It's not necessarily like that now. It's more of a threes, layups. Let's see whose skill can outweigh who other skill and stuff like that. But back then it was still a little physical. So um outside of that, like this team, getting back to the main point that I was trying to make is that we don't have an identity, so they could shock us, but I still don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on a lot of good points there.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, identity and style are not necessarily synonymous.
Right.
So I agree with you. They might not have a definitive identity.
Hmm.
Stylistically, though,
Yeah.
this team plays a LeBron style
Yeah.
of basketball. It
Yeah.
really is. And so some guys are adjusting better than others, you
Hmm.
know? Um, I guess uh, it's not so much about this game against Brazil or any of the previous group stage games. I guess one of my general thoughts about the men's team throughout this performance is, and I want to make this clear,
Hmm.
I'm not a Steve Kerr apologist. If you follow me on Twitter or EMW, right, and when Michael and I chime in, right, we are critical, or right, we praise when it warrants good, and we're critical when it warrants, some well, for lack of a better word, criticism. What I'm trying to get at is the amount. I'm just going to flat out say it: the amount of complaining and
Hmm.
whining
Yeah. Yeah.
from NBA or US fans is ridiculous,
Yeah.
especially when the men's team is winning by an average margin of what? Their average margin of victory is like 20 plus points
Yeah.
in the actual Olympic tournament.
It's,
We're not talking about the exhibitions, right?
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
okay, you're like A, right? And that's fine. That's fine. You criticize, you nitpick here and there, right? Things you think you could do different, like Steve Kerr or the team could be doing differently.
Right.
But what it comes down to, I think, in my opinion, the root of a lot of this criticism is a lot of fans they're fans of a certain player.
Right.
And I understand. You want to see your player shine. You want to see their moment in the spotlight,
Hmm.
you know? And I get that. I get that. But for how the team is performing, to me, there's not too much you could really criticize about Steve Kerr's decision making. And
Right.
if you think he's truly acting like, like he's some kind of dictator, again, Conrad's being a Steve Kerr apologist. Really? Look at the reactions of Eric Spoelstra, Mark Few, and Ty Lue, right?
Mm.
You know, they seem to really share the same kind of criticism of the players that Steve Kerr has,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, for example, today, or I guess the reason why I say that is because it seems like people seem to think like, oh, like for example, Steph Curry, he's not getting enough shots. He's not, they're not running enough action for him. Well, honestly, no shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Does
Yeah.
Curry look surprised?
No.
No. I mean, you see, like he understands that on this team, he's more of a playmaker, a setup guy,
Hmm.
and he's a release valve. If they collapse the paint, he's going to be somewhere on the wing, maybe the corners. They kick it to him. He shoots. I understand. People want to see him, jack up threes off the dribble. But I mean, like for example, today, oh, why didn't Steph get more minutes? I mean, were you not paying attention to like how well Drew Holiday, and Devin Booker were playing?
Yeah.
And actually, with a little Pascual positivity, because I gotta say, I've never been a hater of Devin Booker. I'm just not particularly a fan
Hmm.
of him.
Right. I mean, yeah,
But
I get it.
but this is like almost like kind of like a mellow transformation. FIBA Book is completely different than NBA Booker. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. People are like, oh my God, how come Kerr is giving Devin Booker more minutes than Steph? Like, it's not a matter of what Steph isn't doing. It's just what Booker, to me, it's what Booker was doing.
yeah,
I've never seen him crash the glass, like
yeah,
attack the boards so much. He got so many offensive boards, or he's at least boxing out to allow his teammates to get offensive boards,
hmm,
right? He's cutting, knowing he's not going to get the ball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's become like I don't want to say like in the NBA he's a selfish player. It's just what you see him doing, right? Where he's like kind of the center of attention. You know, like you could swing the ball. My criticism of him in the NBA is you swing the ball around like kind of like Melo. You swing the ball around all you want, but at the end of the day, once the ball gets to him, the ball
yes,
movement doesn't matter. He just
yeah,
kind of slows down. He isolates, right?
yeah,
Like you could have just done that,
yeah,
right? He is completely embraced this role player mentality in a good way, you
right,
know, and it's amazing to see. And again, if we're giving props, I said beforehand, I think we said previous episodes, I said if there's one matchup where it's going to be an Embiid type game, it's against Brazil because
yeah,
they do not have stretch fives.
like at all. And that's
And sure
exactly
enough,
how he started the game, shooting.
yeah, exactly. No, Embiid, yes, he was 3 of 3 from three, but it's
Hmm,
like, what did he do? You know, his ability to establish himself in the paint, right? That's what he did first. And
hmm,
that is what caused them to pack the paint early, which gave him like, a warm up three. And then he got
right,
even more. All I'm saying is, um, again, from possession to possession, there are things, and maybe like certain substitutions, there's certain things that you can criticize.
hmm,
But for the most part, like I feel like Kerr and the coaches, they've kind of been pushing the right buttons, you
right,
know.
yeah,
Granted, they have a significant talent advantage over the rest of the field, but in
yeah,
terms of, mixing and matching, like, and even then, right? He tried to find minutes for Tatum. It sucked. He took him out.
yeah,
Like what more? So I don't know. I just feel like we know FIBA basketball is a lot different than NBA.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
FIBA, basically every freaking league in, well, not every, but basically every league in Europe plays by FIBA rules, right?
right,
So what you're seeing is more of like a FIBA shot distribution, you
right,
know?
yeah,
It is a lot more team oriented. So I don't know, like moving forward, if they continue that mentality, I think all the more they're unstoppable.
yeah.
Because I
And
think
then,
each of those guys, oh sorry,
no,
just
no, go
real
go ahead. I'm sorry
quick,
because I was.
whether it's KD, whoever, Booker, Anthony
Mhm,
Edwards, at the end of the day, if you really, it's a close game and you need someone to kind of like, just, you know, isolate and get a bucket,
yeah,
the only thing you complain is like, who's getting the ball? I want this guy to get the ball. But otherwise, like you have you have the necessary skills to execute, So,
right.
I mean, I don't know. So,
No, I mean, you're right. And adding on to the Devin Booker piece, we might be seeing him like go through a maturation process because he does have Eric Spoelstra over there. He does have Steve Kerr over there on the sidelines, kind of like potentially showing him ways to be more effective the way that he's been playing off the ball and moving around and stuff like that. You know what I mean? As opposed to being basically the primary or secondary scorer. I mean, because even with KD on his team in Phoenix, Booker was, I think he was still primary, wasn't he? For the most part.
uh, yeah,
I mean, like he didn't really take a back seat to KD. KD was the one that took a back seat and just picked his spots, but he would
yeah.
turn it up when he needed to. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take over. And so I think him having this experience, him having it, seeing Steph go through this, seeing KD come off the bench, seeing Tatum like pretty much going from winning a championship to being, I won't say a non-factor, but just like having to figure out which game that he's in, he will make an impact in, you know what I mean? Or he will get some points in, he will
Hmm.
get some real good minutes in. And him being able to be probably the most consistent outside of LeBron and Steph. Yeah, yeah, I would say him being especially in minutes. You know what I mean? But him being the most consistent, is underrated. It's an underrated point. You know what I mean? So I think we are seeing a maturation of Devin Booker. You know, because a lot of people, if I look back at when he dropped 70 on Boston, and I was actually watching that game, but
It's
people were
stupid.
just like, yeah, they were like, well, he did it. They lost, and he did it like, wasn't it overtime if I'm not mistaken?
So the Suns, the
And he was
Suns,
taking
the
all the
Suns
shots
players were intentionally fouling to try to
to
prolong
get
the
him.
game, to give him more shot attempts. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah.
He was intentionally
Sorry to
getting the
be fan
ball.
policing, but it's kind of
No, because
it's
that's
not as
exactly
cool. It's not as cool,
that's
right?
where I'm going with it too. It was like he was just trying to run up the score. So
Yeah.
and that's kind of been what people look when they look at him. That's what they see. You know what I mean? So I think now is potentially a turning point. Like just by you pointing that out, what's going on with Devin Booker, and then just us pretty much putting it in, putting a different look on it, a different spin on it. Is this might be the maturation of Devin Booker? He might actually jump a level now.
I
Hopefully,
mean,
you know what I mean.
let's let's look back at this,
Hmm.
in a couple months when the season starts, because again, not to slam Melo, I think you and I have a lot of respect for him, but
Yeah.
Olympic Melo never translated to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot different to be able to do this, like, where each of these guys are like, okay, I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to do this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right?
Hmm.
Become NBA. I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying Booker can't. It's just, it's to be determined, right? Like, a lot of these guys, good or bad, right? Their roles in FIBA competition are not the same. Like what you saw in the other games, what you saw Evan Fournier, do for France today. I mean, that if he's even on an NBA roster next
Right.
season,
Yeah.
that is definitely not what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So I I'm really, again, I think it's just me, because I don't have a low opinion of him. It's just like you said, like sometimes the way he goes about it, the way he tries to get his points,
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of it. Like it's not appealing to me. But what he's doing here, it's a word that's tossed around too often, but being selfless. That's
Mm.
exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm of all the guys, I'm sorry again, maybe that's on me. I didn't think he would be the guy
No, me
who
neither.
who would
Me
like
neither.
embrace it so much, like
Yeah.
so quickly,
Yeah.
right? Like, whoa. So, big props to him. And again, like, not just I'm like, trying to be contrarian, but the amount, okay, for our viewers out there, if you don't like Embiid, that's fine. We
Yeah.
all have players we like, we have players we don't like.
Right.
But then just say that. Trying to make it seem like he's a bum, like he
Yeah.
sucks, that he's overrated. Like, what are you talking about?
Mm,
Right?
that's
You know
not
what I'm
true.
saying? Like, for example, I say this all the time, right? The finals of the Olympic men's 100-meter dash.
Mhm.
It's a foot race.
Right.
Inevitably, someone comes in first, someone comes in last. Are you
Right.
telling me the guy who comes in last sucks? That he's a
Right.
bum? He happens to be like the eighth
No,
or ninth fastest runner or
in the
sprinter in the
world.
world. You know, it's just, all I'm saying is, dude, we're Team USA. Whether you believe this is the 12, like the top 12 players in the world or not, it's amongst top of the 12 American players, among, not necessarily the top 12.
Right.
You know, like, someone's going to be the best.
Right.
Someone's going to be,
The
the
least
worst of the
of the
group.
best. Right.
You know, and
Exactly.
again, like, after the exhibitions, he's basically been played matchup dependent. I don't think you can. I just don't see the amount of, in my opinion, like vitriol being tossed at him. Like, I think it's like excessive, and hey man, I think like today, there's gonna be a time and place for each of them, all of them, all of
Yeah.
them. The only one I say is maybe Tatum.
Yeah.
Tatum to me is like the men's version of Joel Lloyd. I don't think there's a definitive role for him on this team.
Uh, no, you know what, and I can understand that. You know what I mean, and that's why they make such a big deal with him and Jalen Brown, and that they have in the past until they just won this championship. That they can't really fit on the same team together. You know what I mean? But I mean, they won a championship. So it worked, and they ultimately gave, MVP to Jalen Brown. But does that go to show or say or speak more to the Jewel Lloyd point, a Jewel Lloyd, or maybe even like in Enrique Ogunbowale, where it's like he's just like an explosive scorer. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what he does. But with so many other great players around him, championship greats, he's that doesn't necessarily, we don't have to play through Jason Tatum and allow him to just jack up threes, and like we can
But I
we
mean,
can get
like,
this game kind of in the, just put away by going through a LeBron style. You know what I mean?
I mean, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, with the NBA, no, I think there is a definitive role for him, right? Where he's
Yeah.
like that combo forward guy for the Celtics.
Yeah.
He kind of moonlights as a 3 and a 4, sometimes even a 2, you
Right.
know. But with Team USA, it's like, okay, you're not the best catch and shoot guy. Like we already have, you know,
A few.
Booker, Curry, right? Anthony Edwards, maybe. I don't know. Right? But
Yeah.
we have, right?
Drew Holiday
And
sometimes.
Drew Holiday, right?
Derek White sometimes
Derek
with
White,
that.
right? If it's strictly we're just talking catch and shoot,
Kevin Durant.
there you go. Well, no, then if we need a little bit more like playmaking and shot creation from the
From the
wing,
post. Oh, okay.
then you have Kevin Durant,
Right.
right? Or LeBron.
Yep.
You're not a center.
Right.
So that's to me, like, I'm not saying he shouldn't have been included on this team. It's just now that we're actually getting into it, and like fans that are continuously like complaining that Tatum's not getting more minutes, like, tell me who he should be playing over. Halliburton's not really getting real minutes. You
And
know what I'm
no,
saying?
he's not. He's not.
One of Bam or Embiid aren't really getting real minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, what? I don't know. Again, right? If you've ever played like competitive basketball, someone's gonna inevitably sit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And then that leads me to believe, or it sparks a thought. Spark your brain. Spark your brain. But what if Kawhi Leonard never left this team? Then would Tatum be getting any real burn at all? You know what I mean? Because Kawhi Leonard I think, can fill the role of not having to have the ball, play on the
right.
defensive end,
Well,
and
remember,
make like really good, like perform well when it comes to executing plays and finish those plays. You know what I mean?
I mean, obviously,
No diss
in the
against Tatum.
proverbial vacuum,
Yeah.
Kawhi is significantly, like, all around more talented than Derek White.
Yeah.
But for Team USA, I
Oh,
feel like
okay.
both of them would have had the same role, right?
Right.
You're a
Yeah.
defensive first, like guard/wing player, and you'll make the occasional open shot, or you're
Right.
supposed to knock down. That's it. That's it. I mean, to me, Kawhi would have been there strictly for defensive purposes.
And we'd have been winning by 50.
Yeah. I mean, right? I think obviously we didn't have these guys playing last year in the FIBA World Cup. But I think, Grant Hill and the Team USA coaches were like, damn it, we got completely shredded by Franz Wagner and Dennis Schroeder. We need more perimeter defense. I think that's what Kawhi would have done,
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Left
I mean,
field, just for fun. What if Kawhi left because he was like, wait, Ty Lue, LeBron, AD, what? And then he was like, no, I'm out. LA my way.
I mean, okay, right? Okay. Here's like some galaxy brain thinking. Think about it, right?
Mm.
Right now, do we still believe the men's team, Team USA, are going to win the gold medal?
Yeah.
Yes, right? Tyrese Halliburton has like done what? Played like a total of like 10 minutes total in all the games, right? And
Girl.
like made like what, 3 threes maybe? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
In garbage time. He's going to get a gold medal.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who gets to go home, who gets to go back to America and say, I am not injured. I am well rested.
Yeah.
I am fresh, right? Some of these other guys, especially the older ones, right? As much as I love Steph, right? It has not escaped my mind that, okay, maybe You start out the season training camp with some heavier legs. Same thing goes for LeBron. Same thing goes for
Hey,
KD.
okay,
You
yep.
know, and hey, in his direct conference, right? I mean, the Celtics, especially get Drew and Derek White. They've been playing heavier minutes. All I'm saying is, right? Hey, he gets a gold medal and he gets to start out the NBA season,
Fresh.
on somewhat rested legs. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
With
So
the
I mean,
experience of being around all these greats.
yeah, same thing with Embiid. Knock on wood, because I don't want to see him get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
Yeah.
I came in a couple times. I made a couple post moves. Grab some boards. Cool.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, hey, we'll see. We'll see. But
Oh,
I guess before we move on, so yeah, let's see. Yes, so Serbia, as you said, they made a huge, huge, huge comeback against Australia. At one point, Patty Mills had 18 consecutive points, like on his own.
sheesh. Okay.
Yeah, he extended it to a 24-point lead for Australia. Yeah, he went on an 18-0 run. Yeah.
Spurs? Spurs, Patty? Is
What is
this
he now? Is he a Hawk?
2014?
Isn't he a Hawk now?
Yeah, but that was Spurs, Patty. That was like
Oh yeah.
Patty, Danny Green,
You do
Kawhi.
realize the Spurs last won the championship a decade ago.
Yes.
2014. Where did the years go by, man?
Man,
Seriously,
they
man.
went, but it's one person that makes you feel like it was the day before yesterday, and that's LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the irony too, right? We played, well, not irony, how fitting, I should say, more how fitting, right? We're talking about it's been a decade. 2014 is when the Spurs last won their championship,
Yeah.
right? Right? Who's on that team as well, right? The international bench mob, Tiago Splitter.
Yes.
Tiago Splitter is a coach for the Brazilian national team. He was there this morning on the sidelines calling
Yeah.
plays, making
That's
substitutions.
crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, dude. I don't know. The years go by way too fast, man.
Yeah, yeah,
But
they do.
yeah, I mean, kudos to Brazil. I don't think we have to say too much. It'll
Nah.
be interesting to see if they can make it again, if they can qualify for the 2028 Olympics. I only say that just because, as we saw, right, there are a lot of other nations that didn't qualify, but they're on the rise, like South Sudan, right?
Mhm.
Um, and some of the other nations are only, at least on paper, right? It looks like they're only going to get stronger. Right? I know Canada got eliminated today too, but Canada, France will likely continue to get stronger.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably
If,
missing a bunch of other nations that
uh,
didn't
I
qualify.
wish Giannis could get a running mate on this
Yeah.
Greece team. That
Okay,
would
so
be
going there in the other one of the other quarterfinal matchups, right?
yeah.
Germany defeated Greece
Mhm.
76-63, and for the most part, Germany led the entire game. They controlled the game. They led wire to wire. Obviously, with Canada having been eliminated by France, and we'll get to that matchup in a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. What do you think? I think we said this from the start. I think Germany is and has always been the US's biggest challenger. Challenger. I didn't say to upset them. Just
Yeah.
like, and I think at this point, I don't know. I would be hard pressed not to pick them to make
Yeah.
it to the gold medal match. But so the next round it will be Germany versus France.
Hmm.
Um, Franz has obviously been the star of the
Yeah.
show, at least for term Germany, right? Team Germany,
Yeah. And
Alemann, right?
yeah.
Uh,
And that's and
so
that's what it is. They keep getting players to get added to that team that are making it like to the league or are just very prominent. You know what I mean? So they're
yeah,
it's like almost soccer. Like you got your youth squad, and all of a sudden they're getting developed, and they get
it
put on
is.
the team, then they keep getting better, and then all of a sudden they're on the national team. So, um, I think that's what some of the other teams really need, but they're not necessarily getting a talent level that will get them somewhere. You know what I mean? And it's nice to
Yeah,
have Dennis Schroeder go over there and turn into something totally different than what he is in the NBA. He like German Jordan or something like that. You know what I mean? Like German I don't know, Tony Parker or something like that. Like he just goes over there and he turns into like literally, you know what I mean, an engine
right.
or a motor. Like as opposed to how we look at him over here, like, oh yeah, he's just a problem and he's this and that and he talks smack and but then he goes and plays for his national team and it's like, damn, like, you know what I mean? It's interesting.
I mean, it happens every international competition. You'll see like this bench player who is a bench player, a role player at best, and they look like a superstar on their respective national team, assuming they're not on Team USA,
Right.
right? But I mean, it just goes to show, I think you and I have said this before. Coaches tell us when we were players all the time, right? There are levels to this.
Yeah.
There are levels to this. I remember, like Gogo Bataze, right? And I reference it because I remember watching just like a month or two ago. Right, I was watching him play against the Filipino national team, right? That's why I was watching him, right?
Yeah.
And dude averages like what 6-7 points per game for the Magic, right?
Yeah.
Dude had he freaking dropped like almost 30, like 28 on the Philippines, like a dominant. And I know you're gonna say, okay, Filipinos are short. No, dude, that's what I'm saying, right? Like our NBA role players, they are capable of a lot more. It's just right. Having them do all that is probably not the most conducive way to winning NBA games. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They need to kind of streamline their role, and we know that. But so it's just interesting. But
I mean, it's because it's not the NBA, like politics or just the NBA system, whereas like the NBA is
that's true too.
full of just American players. It's like you are seeing the best from each respective country. You know what I mean? And as opposed to, oh well, goes on the team with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they're all in front of him on a depth chart. Whereas over here, he's like one of the guys that they're building their team around. It's kind of like what I said about the WNBA. The girls get drafted just because they're at the end of the bench for 2 years, but then they go to a sixth role and then suddenly they're the third best player, or they're doing something people didn't expect. Well, it's like they did get drafted. Like, did you get drafted? I didn't. You know what I mean? So that means that they actually have talent, and if they were able to develop it, and then continuity has something to do with it too, because a lot of these players have played with their national teams. They have that familiarity because they have actually had real time together. You know what I mean? So yeah, that plays a part in it too.
Yeah. And speaking of continuity, because the last quarterfinal, which we touched upon, France versus Canada.
Yeah.
Right, France, the host nation, right, versus Canada. They're probably two of the most I don't want to say progressive, right, but they're still the two burgeoning national teams, I would say, right? Like obviously there's USA. I'm saying outside of USA, right? Those are two other national teams that you can make an argument should be back next Olympics and even stronger, right? Wembanyama getting older. Go ahead, look at the list, right, of the 2025 draft prospects, right? Several other Frenchmen, the French guys that did not make this national team, right? Even, regardless of what you think of them, right? Like let's just say they're as good as their draft position warranted. Alex Sarr, Zachary Richeche, et cetera, right? I mean, there's so many guys that didn't make this year's Olympic team that you have reason to believe that they can come back even stronger, right? Let's talk about this real quick before we kind of just give our general thoughts about the Olympics and some NBA news. Obviously, Canada was the heavy favorite to win this match. Right, they were the favorites to be in the gold medal match. Right, not just to win this game. France's coach Vincent, I'm not sure how to say his last name, Collier, I don't know, made a pretty bold decision pregame, regardless of the reasoning, because there is dispute between the reasoning of it. He benched Rudy Gobert.
Right? It was a finger injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so Gobert says it's a finger injury. The coach says it's not.
Oh.
So a little drama there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
regardless, it's the it was the best
Uh-oh.
that
Did he
France has
cough?
looked.
Did he cough and rub some microphones and
What's up?
I said, did Gobert cough on and rub some microphones like he did to begin
Hey
COVID?
man, I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him.
Like, oh yeah, don't get
Now,
sick.
no, I mean,
Chris Paul has COVID, or whoever got it first.
I really like that call by the coach because he says it's not because of a finger injury. But
Okay.
regardless, the fact that he was suited up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he didn't play him. He didn't play him. Now, okay, you're like, okay, because everyone knows I don't particularly think highly of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
That's not the
Oh, okay.
point,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like it gave an opportunity for Wemby to do what he does best defensively,
Yeah. That,
right?
that's true.
Protect the rim while being able to like he can increase, right, the amount of surface area he can guard when he's the lone big, right? He kind of,
Right.
he kind of pushes the offense further out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude. Canada had no answers. And, in the absence of Rudy Gobert, it puts in another, right, wing player. And it was really just SGA, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts. Because now Jamal Murray literally no-showed the entire Olympics and the entire exhibition circuit. You can make an argument he no-showed,
Um,
right, late in the playoffs.
I will
He
say,
insists there's no injury. Is there no injury? What is that? What's going on here? Yeah.
I would say it's just like what we saying about Team USA. You because if there is a team that has a collection of NBA players, it is Canada. Like a thorough collection. You know what I mean? So not that I'm giving them an excuse. There's no excuse because you're arguably the second best player on the team. You know what I mean? If you show up to the capacity that we know you can versus SGA, you're the second best player. Um, but I think it has to do with the talent collection, and who knows, it might be an underlying injury. He had one in the year, didn't he, with Denver, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. And he might be carrying an injury still, just like Embiid might be still nursing an injury, just like Kawhi left and he might have been nursing an injury. Um, but I think that's part of it, and then I think it might be game planning. It might also be Canada. What has Canada done since this collection of NBA players just went from 5 to 10 to what I mean? Like it's just like, oh, look who they got. Look who else they got. This team is gonna be crazy. No Wiggins though. You know what I mean? And it's just like, what continuity do they have? What strides have they made as a collective? You know what I mean? And how long has this collective been together? This is the first time this roster of Canada has come together, like in full. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they are still missing Wiggins. So what does that mean? That's a wing defender on a good day. You know what I mean? As long as he's in good spirits and he's feeling fine, like Wiggins will really help you on defense. So
I
I don't
mean,
know, man. Like I don't want to make too much of them because they haven't done anything. I could see if they were like silver last time or something like that, like in the World Cup games or something like that. But Canada hasn't been
they were
making noise.
bronze.
Yeah, but they weren't silver.
Okay.
It's World
Nice.
Cup. It's just World Cup. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Olympics is like everybody's not like even Team USA looked like they weren't coming to play today. You know what I mean? They were lackadaisical in some of them other games. Today they had a game face on. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
And
France, you know, uh, they jumped on top of them,
yeah,
from the get go, from the opening tip. I mean, the numbers are pretty telling, right? I mean, the box score doesn't always tell you everything, but damn, it's an ugly box score, right? Jamal Murray, 7 points on 3 of 13 shooting.
yeah,
Dylan Brooks, 2 points on 1 of 9 shooting.
yeah,
I mean, you're just not getting any support. You're not at that point. And I remember when I was scouting him, even though he hasn't really had much of an NBA career, but Isaiah Cordinier, you know,
Mm-hmm.
aka the Flying Frenchman. You know, I mean, he looked like that guy that draft junkies thought he could be. You know, saying today
Yeah.
he did, and oh my god, he sliced and diced him up today. He was pretty much he was the difference because Wemby did not shoot particularly well today.
Yeah.
I think he was like 2 of 10 from the field.
But like you
But
said, that defense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting. Like I said, I mean, the funny thing is Wiggins probably won't even be on the next Olympic team.
I doubt it.
A majority of the guys that were there this year, they'll probably be there again. So in terms
Yeah.
of continuity, that's what I'm saying, right? You have reason to believe they can come back from this stronger. Both
Yeah.
teams,
Yeah.
right? Regardless of where France finishes. Um, but just real quick, you don't need to go too in depth since we're on the topic of these the knockout stage. So it will be France versus who's it again? France
Germany.
versus Germany. Any quick thoughts? Who do you think is gonna win?
I'm gonna just go Germany.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you believe that there was some like a home whistle for France today?
Mm, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Just
Yeah,
because I know how petty you can get in soccer competition. So
I know, dude.
yeah. So maybe.
I mean, France and Canada that's the irony too. Canada lacks bigs, but has a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of guards and wings.
Yeah.
France has a bunch of bigs, but don't
But
have
lax
good
guard.
guards.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And yet it was the opposite, right? Like that was
Mm-hmm.
carrying the team.
Yeah. I mean,
Um.
big
So
man.
yeah,
Big
and
man
then
ranks.
yeah, I'm with you. I think Germany. I think Germany. They just
They have a
they seem
better
to have a
balance.
better ability to control pace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their best guys are their best, right? Like shot creators, like off the dribble.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I think yeah, and obviously, whatevs. I think U.S. is going to beat Serbia. Um, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do
All
you
day.
think it'll be closer?
No.
This is now the third time in this
No.
Olympic. Yeah, no, I don't.
No.
It might be close for again, like the last two games. It'll be close for like close-ish
No,
for a
because they're gonna
quarter.
they're gonna look at Jokic and they're gonna say, "Huh, MVP, huh," and they're gonna be like,
See,
they're gonna get
this
mad
will be
again.
interesting. Who do you think actually? Who do you think should be starting against Serbia? Because now this is our third
Embiid.
time playing them. You still think Embiid?
I mean,
No, I'm not. I'm just curious.
well, probably David. Well, Davis is gonna be starting anyway, right?
No.
So, oh well, I will start AD. Go ahead and let Jokic get them circus shots off, but AD can help be more like effective on defense against the other players. Like when they receive in the pass and he's going to help on defense and whatnot. Like you can let Jokic do whatever he wants to do, but just you got to limit his teammates. If he gets his teammates going, he gets going. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
as long as you limit his teammates, like this ain't Denver. You know what I mean? Like they're not Jamal Murray at his best, Michael Porter at his
Well,
best, Aaron Gordon playing defense on LeBron James at his best. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It's a lot of
to
pieces
be
that's not.
fair, to be fair, Bogdanovic and Vasa
And I
Micic
love
have
him.
played significantly better than Jamal Murray.
Oh
So
well, yeah, just Jamal, but who are they gonna guard and
no, I
stop?
know.
And I love Bogdanovich. Let me
Yeah.
since we on another relax since we back to our pre-records and relax spots. Send him to Detroit, please. Please send him to Detroit.
I mean, Atlanta, I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
Their direction, right?
yeah,
It's like their Google Maps froze or something. I don't know,
yeah.
man.
I
So,
mean, well, they're a bird. They're just flying around.
you know.
No
Well,
diss.
okay. That'll be It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting. I agree. When all said and done, I think Team USA, both the men and the women, will be on the podium, you know, receiving
Mhm.
their gold medals. But let's see how they get there, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but one final thing before we close up, since we are a Warriors and Pistons centric podcast, right?
Mhm.
The big NBA news, since we haven't really done NBA in a while, the big NBA news of the day. I
Mhm.
think we kind of suspected this. I don't know. Maybe you kind of hope differently. But
I
Lauri Markkanen will be staying with the Jazz and signing his max extension, renegotiation and extension, probably in the upcoming days, right? And because
mhm.
he's not signing it today, since he's signing it after today, he can't be traded at all this upcoming season. So he's at the very least guaranteed to be on the Utah Jazz all of next season. So as it pertains to us, he will not be a Golden State Warrior. Your thoughts, Michael?
Did you see what I tweeted the other day?
I don't know. What'd you tweet? Some of the shit you tweet like makes me laugh. I don't know.
I tweeted Zion and Lauri Markkanen together, but
On keep going.
I have a different one now.
Okay.
Same situation, but in reverse. Brandon Ingram to the Jazz, unless they actually do want to go for Cooper Cup. But other than that, I mean, if let me get back to reality. Um, Maybe he's retaining him because he wants to add something. I mean, he wants Cooper Cup to have something when he gets there. Because I mean, if he
Cooper
gets,
Cup.
I mean Cooper Cup. Why am I thinking about Cooper Cup? I'm been NFL
Fantasy
fantasy
football
all
is
day.
coming up.
Cooper
Michael and I are
Flag.
avid fantasy
Cooper Flag.
football
I'm
fans,
sorry
so
because
maybe
I
we should
got.
start a league.
I'm sorry, y'all. Like,
That's Michael's sleeper right there.
I'm
Everyone wants
apologizing.
Puka
No,
Nakua.
I'm sorry. Look, fantasy go 10 must have rookies. You should be starting, stashing 10 or 5 must have skyrocketing fantasy player. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Dude,
It's
I already
been,
did one draft, like a
it's,
real one for money. You
did
know,
you? Yeah, and I'm getting ready to.
Jaden
So I'm
Daniels,
sorry.
baby. Jaden
Yes, no.
Daniels.
Shh, 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 shh. Don't say that too loud. I don't know if any of the people that I'm in the league with watch this. Because I
To
told
be
them I'm
fair, I
drafting
drafted both
differently.
of him and Caleb Williams. So
Ooh, wee. That sounds like a plan. I've
right?
drafted Patrick Mahomes the last couple of times, but let's not get off
If
topic.
one of them hits, if just one of them hits,
Yeah,
it's a league winner.
yeah, yeah, easily.
Okay, tangent,
But
tangent.
yeah, no, tangent. Hey, for all the NFL football heads out there, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Utah. Like y'all signed them, and that's the only thing I could get out of it is they want to have some type of foundation in place. So when Cooper Flag comes in, they could just hit the ground kind of somewhat running, even though you're in the Western Conference. You know what I mean? But they'll have some type of ground to go forward on, as opposed to, oh, we got Cooper Flag, ha 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 ha, right? And you have who else? You know what I mean?
I
So
mean,
start retaining because the Jazz, who wants to? The Jazz are like the Detroit West. Who wants to just go to Utah?
yeah, but like they want to be yes, and that's the thing, right? Like I don't know, it's really odd. It's odd because the follow up report after is that again, like you said, they ideally, the ideal outcome is they suck.
Yeah, and
They
then
can
they
draft
flip
Cooper
Lori
Flag,
next year.
right? They combine, right? But like, there's two follow up reports. They're totally cool trading any other veteran, you know, and getting back whatever they can, draft picks, young players, right? So even Walker Kessler is considered like a veteran. So, you
Yeah,
know, Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, um, John Collins, right? Like
hmm
they're all available. Okay, so you purge your team of anyone that actually has experience playing like some winning basketball.
right,
Okay, you play all the youth. I don't know, man. Like, is that enough bottoming out where you're actually like in contention to draft number one? It seems like they're like, and it doesn't make this is it's a pretty top heavy draft. So you don't, you know, like the guys going 2 to 5. I am very high on. It's just it's not Cooper Flag. It's the same,
right,
you know, like regardless of who you think is better, Cooper Flag or Wemby, you know, it's the same thing, right? Right? Like Asar is great. Asar is just not Wemby.
right.
You know, it's that same kind of situation. It's really weird. I'm not again like ideally you want to acquire, you want talent on your team. So I don't criticize the Jazz for retaining Lauri. It's just it's weird, you know.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
you're
they're
if he's down for it, it's like, hey man, we're gonna give you like $50 million and we're gonna like hella
they'll
suck.
probably try to flip him next off season. Can they flip him like for they can flip him for a draft pick next season, right? Like
Next
before the
season,
draft. Before the
yes,
draft.
yes.
That's
Once the
what they're gonna
season is
do.
officially over,
That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna flip him for a draft pick and some extra assets
I
that
can't say.
may either be added to.
I don't think anyone's giving. They're not giving a lottery pick for Larry Markkinen.
You don't think
I
so?
just don't see. I don't see the
You
cap.
don't think so?
A lottery pick? Like what are we talking? Lot like the 14th overall pick? Sure, that is technically a
I
lottery
mean,
pick.
okay, so what do you
I'm not
expect?
giving a top 5 pick for Larry Markkinen, even though he's
Even if
27, but 27 and making $50 million a year. Like if you're ever going to be a franchise player, we're going to miss that window. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
there's no other franchise around him. Right?
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. But I
yeah.
mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just
I
it's
mean, if it's
interesting.
the Hornets and they
It's
suck
different.
again, you know what I mean? And they get like the 4th pick or something like that. Here's Lauri Markkanen. Tell LaMelo to figure it
Okay,
out.
fine. Maybe they might do it.
You know what
Okay,
I
fine.
mean?
I
Like,
take it back.
yeah,
Fine.
I think
Maybe they
that's
might do it.
yeah. And then I mean, who knows how my Pistons turn out, but I think we'll be fine. But who else is looking to suck? Like probably Chicago, maybe. Maybe they can flip him for
Portland?
Vucevic and give Vucevic back, get a pick or two or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we'll see. But I mean, the Jazz
But
are confusing. It's
I guess
confusing.
before we wrap this up, we bring it up because obviously, you and I were Warrior fans. I literally have 2 Warrior banners behind me right now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, um I don't know. For me personally, I'll just start off. Like I started this episode talking kind of criticizing fans about incessant complaining and whining.
right.
And sure enough, that is what I see a lot of today, right?
Yeah,
I get it. I get it. Warrior fans, you're disappointed. We didn't get Larry Markkinen, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not in denial or anything. Like this doom or gloom mentality. I
right.
just can't get on board with that, And that's not just me being always like a glass half full kind of guy. Like to me, it was one of the more direct moves the Warriors could have done.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's the only move they could have done. Now, you could be like, well, Connor, if they didn't make that move, what gives you reason to believe they'll make others? I mean, that's a fair, question
Right.
to ask. But I mean, I think the reports are a little misleading. They're making it seem like Pods was the deal breaker.
Right.
And I don't think it was that black and white, Like, I feel like it was, we'll include Pods. We're just not giving you 5 first-round picks. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Wait, which technically, right? It was like supposed to be like 3 first-round picks. I'm not even sure if there were any protections on it. 2 first-round pick swaps. So basically, they either control or outright have 5 of our first-round picks, second-round picks, and it's not just freaking Pods, right? Moody would be involved. Some other, salary filler. I guess my point is, I'm not opposed. I told you this before. I'm not opposed to trading Pods. It's if we're trading Pods or Kuminga, then we're not giving you all those picks.
Right.
If you value the picks more, take the picks. You're not getting all the players. I get it. Danny Ainge wants everything and also the stuff that we're not even allowed to give him, right? If we're only allowed to give him 5 first-round picks, he wants 15. I get it.
Right.
But, I mean, I want $1 billion. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it just because I asked.
Exactly. And then, especially if you're not going to get or give what what you're seeking to get, you got to give something in return too. You know what I mean? And what if they don't want Lauri Markkanen for what you're trying to get? So that's just, and that goes with the fans. Like, oh, it's all doom or gloom because they just want things to happen just because they think, oh, well, so give them to us, or it's doom or gloom. And it's like, no, well, if you want to get something, you have to give up something. It's
Right.
give and take.
And
You know what I mean? So
I am not, like I said, I mean, I get it. It's easy to criticize Mike Dunleavy Jr. It's easy to criticize Joe Lacob. Again, I'm not being an apologist. It's just from what is actually being presented or made public.
yeah,
I think people are kind of jumping to conclusions that the reports aren't necessarily indicating, you know? Um, so we'll see. We'll see. Right now, as the roster currently stands, right? So, in no particular order, Steph, Pods, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond, Looney, GP2, Moody, D'Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson. Who else am I missing? Oh, Buddy Hield, Guy Santos. I'm missing some other people probably, and some actually, I don't know. Point being, though, where do you think this team is a playoff team? Top 6, top 8, top 10?
How many roster spots do you guys have?
Right now, as it stands, we have one open, but we actually cannot fill it because we're hard capped. Which is why I don't think this current roster as it stands right now, I want to make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, I still do not believe this is our opening night roster.
No, it's not.
Now, that's not to say they're going to make a huge trade, but I think at the very least, they're going to make another, minor trade or two
You
to
ready?
kind of round out the roster,
You ready?
Yeah.
Are you interested in Ingram and Valanciunas?
Fuck no.
Damn.
First of all, Valanciunas is with the Wizards, man. I saw that report. I saw that report, but we can't trade for him until what is that, like December something? December?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
right,
he would be perfect.
Ingram definitely
y'all have had the Bogats, y'all have had the David Lees, y'all have had the Zaza Pachulias. Jonas Valanciunas is perfect. And he shoots threes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not okay. I'm fuck no
On
to Ingram.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Even
I
though,
do not think as highly of him as actually I think Dub Nation is pretty cold on him. They're pretty down on him. I don't know.
I mean, but when I look at Ingram and then if I see him in I mean, who would you prefer? The version of Wiggins that you've had more recently since the championship, or Ingram who can
So you're
actually
saying
make?
If we make another trade, who would I prefer?
No, I mean, if you had to choose between the Wiggins that you've had the last 2 seasons and Brandon Ingram, you'd stick with Wiggins.
I would rather bank on Wiggins finding his 2022 championship form.
Yeah.
At approximately $27 million a year than hoping Brandon Ingram can become something he's never been in his entire career while paying him $50+ million. No, I am not doing that.
Okay.
I know it's not my money, but I also know how it'll cripple the team if it doesn't work out. Like, no, I'm willing to take a risk, not on him. I just don't think we've had this conversation before. I don't think he has the skills off ball to succeed. Like, I don't think he gives anything.
Okay.
Like when he's not on ball. I'm still, again, maybe some people are with me, some people aren't. I'm still in favor of Zach LaVine. I still, again, to me, the only thing prohibitive is his health.
Right.
But that's where the team trainers, Rick Celebrini, comes in. If Rick Celebrini is saying, you know what, he'll be good to go, we can work with it, then I'm all for it. His contract, to me, is only an albatross if he's a cripple. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not, that's a fair salary. That's a fair freaking salary for a player of his caliber, right? I don't mind paying $40+ million, Yeah. So we'll see. But if it's a minor trade, again, another injury risk, I'm still all about Time Lord. Give me Robert Williams.
Nice.
I mean, Portland's already saying, right? They're trying to get rid of DeAndre Ayton. No, not trying to. You know what I'm saying? Yes. they plan on trading Jeremy Grant at some point. They plan on trading DeAndre Ayton at some point. Robert Williams, right? I like him more than Ayton, a lot more, right? He has the right mentality, to thrive as a role player. In the proverbial vacuum, give me Cam Johnson. The problem there is, I think, the salary matching.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, we have the necessary, to really make the numbers work. You're kind of giving up guys that we probably would like to keep. So I don't know. It depends. But in general, that's where I'm looking at. And I think they'd be an upgrade.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Yeah,
but as it stands now, I still think, I truly believe they're still a better team on paper than they were last year.
Yeah, I agree. Right?
So I'm going to say no less than 46 wins. Frankly, I think they're like a 48-ish win team. You can say maybe I'm being optimistic. I don't care.
No, but what I'm saying? That's Curry.
Yeah. Who again? People are complaining he's not playing enough in Team USA. He'll be rested.
Don't nobody care about Team USA. That's not Curry's team. That's everybody's team, but LeBron is the main guy. So,
Yeah.
And if not him, then KD. So,
yeah.
But I mean,
so you think the Warriors, as currently constructed, that they're what? Top 6, top 8, top 10?
I can't put a finger on that yet. I will have to. I don't know, because Ja Morant's coming back. The Kings
that's what I'm saying, right?
Seem interesting going forward. I don't know what's going. I don't know if the Pelicans are actually going to get off of Ingram, what they're going to get back, what Utah is going to do. Well, fuck Utah.
No, I think Utah and Portland. I feel like Utah and Portland we can cross off.
Yeah,
right. They'll run around.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll have their league pass highlight every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, but not, especially not Portland. No, they won't. their team is not even on the same page. They're trying to get rid of everybody. They're going into a rebuild. You know what I mean? Phase 2 of the rebuild is, we were trying to save face after trading Dame, but yeah, we got to really rebuild now. You should have just did that in the first place. Why did you get DeAndre Ayton? And then why did you have Dame? Dame say, I want to stay. And as soon as he said, I want to stay, you signed Jeremy Grant to a fucking what contract?
So you don't want to have a Pistons reunion with Jeremy Grant?
I mean, he can. That's different. He come to the Pistons. He'd have Cade Cunningham, even though I don't know. When Cade first got, man, that's a whole nother pod, bro. we'll get into that,
and we will talk about. We will have more of a Pistons centric talk on these potential trade candidates.
Yeah, we'll get into that another time. But just I don't know. I didn't went far left field, but I was going to Houston. Houston is. I want to see what they do, but it's like Houston, Sacramento being more interesting. Ja Morant and Memphis getting back in the picture, and seeing what the final roster for the Pelicans and Zion health looks like. And then, I mean, I guess off the Steph Curry factor, I will say they are a play-in team, just out of respect for Steph Curry.
A play-in?
A play-in.
Okay, that's fair.
Because he's the only superstar that doesn't have a clear number 2. LeBron has one. KD has one.
All right.
Russ even got. I mean, I don't know if Jamal Murray is that guy behind Jokic, but
championship Jamal Murray, yes, Jokic, is a clear number 2.
But at least
Jokic what we just saw this morning against France, or was it France? Yeah. I don't know what that was, man.
I mean, but at least Jokic has options. He has Murray. He has Aaron Gordon. He has MPJ if he can stay consistent. Yeah. Tatum has Brown. Embiid has Maxey and PG. Kawhi has, I guess, James Harden. Luka has Kyrie, and you know what I mean? Every superstar has some caliber of this is the clear number 2 guy. Yeah. Who is the Warriors' clear number 2 guy?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not due to a lack of options, because The report today was that the Warriors do not have any interest in Ingram or Zach LaVine, but that could just be posturing. I don't know, right? But no, you're absolutely right. They represent, at the very least, whether you think the fit is right or not, they represent a clear, definitive number two option, which the Warriors do not have
Don't have.
until further notice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, this is a year for Kuminga, I
And
guess.
it would have been nice if DeRozan went there, but he went to Sacramento. So and I can't think of anybody else. Like, there is nobody available. Somebody has to emerge. Like, Pods has
Yeah,
to turn into that, or Wiggins needs to go back. And it might be Wiggins. It might be like, well, Clay's going.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, we need you to wake up, or we're trading you. And I tell him
Wiggins,
that.
to me, he can be like a number two option down the stretch of games. I've never seen him being able to maintain that for all 48 minutes. Like if you want to like think of it as like baseball, he can be like a closer, but
Yeah.
he's not going to give you 9 full innings. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
I don't know. You know what? I'll out of respect for Steph and my love for the Warriors, I'll just say a playing team. And that's
I think
like,
so. No, I think we're on the same page. I was
yeah,
just curious what you think. I think, yeah,
yeah.
even with
Right now, today, August
Memphis
6th,
kind of
going on.
making a bounce back, yeah, I'd still say this roster right now should be in the top 8 of the West. So yeah, still playing territory, but like the higher end bracket of the
Yeah.
play-in. You get 2
We'll,
shots to get into the playoffs.
we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right. Well, it was nice recapping the men's game,
Yeah.
and yeah, we'll see. Let's see who takes home the hardware. Team USA returns to the hardwood on Thursday.
Yeah.
I believe same time, 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. Against Serbia. It seems like we play Serbia every other week, man. I don't know. I'm getting
Right.
tired of them.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If anything, I feel like the players will step up for that game because we said this before. I think they like to embarrass Jokic when they get the chance. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Indeed.
That's
Okay,
right.
people. Well, thank y'all for joining us for this more relaxed episode, because we both actually kind of spent, but it felt good to not be in such a urgent, and you know what I mean, have a sense of urgency, like the game's over and we get to actually chill and just kick it about all ball today. So thank you for watching us. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Follow us on the Twitter handles. You see. Yep. Yeah. Yep. And the one you don't see is at EMW_pod on Twitter. Make sure y'all follow us there. Follow East Meets West, a basketball state of being, on all your platforms. We're getting back. And thank y'all. Tap in with us.
Appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Good night.